Hey, it's Thursday. It is July 16th, 2020, and the stock market is down 135 points today. Interesting that we've had some record growth over the past week, and the stock market is so disconnected from reality, in my opinion. I'm up on my roof. I was painting today. I am the founder of a nonprofit organization, and I founded a school in Tanzania. And since March, all of our fundraising has dried up. Usually we go to fairs and festivals and various markets, and we sell Tanzanian art and spread the word of our good work. This time of year, we start going to Gillette Stadium, where we run a food concession and raise some money too. So our fundraising has been down significantly in this time of this Rona infection. I know I was stuck in Tanzania at the end of March, fearful that I wouldn't get home, but I made it home on one of the last flights and before the outbreak came. We're going to talk about economies today a little bit. We'll talk about the United States economy, and then we'll talk about the Tanzania economy the way I see it now. Tanzania has stopped reporting on the number of infections on April 29th. They thought it would scare people and prevent them from going out, and the president did not want to stop his economy from moving. So that had some positives and some negatives. Just like Sweden, regardless of whether you close down the economy or not, your economy is going to be affected. 4 months later, or 3.5 months later, my friends in Tanzania contact me often. Many of them without any work. We support a lot of artisans who have little shops and little markets where they sell their artwork, their jewelry, their soapstone, their coffee, whatever it is that they make. And there has been no market in the past 4 months, and they have had no income. Unlike the United States, where we've had some stimulus, small businesses have gotten PPP loans, unemployment has been extended on a federal level. There have been forbearances and rent deferments. In Tanzania, there's none of that. So on a whole, I probably get about 50 people a month asking me to help them with food. They're crying to me saying they haven't eaten in 4 days, they have nothing, their safari companies are closed, they don't know when the next tourist is coming. And it's really a sad situation. I mean, it's not only our artists, it's our contractors, it's our friends, it's safari guides we know, it's people who work in hotels, it's just everywhere. Schools shut down in March in Tanzania, but then they reopened in June, and that posed another problem because although we subsidize every child's education, there's a lag now because none of our parents can pay their portion of the school fees. And the government mandated we open with or without the resources to do so. And since our fundraising in the United States has taken a real dive and a real big hit this time of year, or this time of the world, and we can't really do what we've done in the past either, especially with our situation in the United States. Whew. So it's not easy. It's not easy anywhere. I know a lot of people in the United States too who are artists and sell at various markets in the Boston area. That's where I'm located. I'm about 18 miles south of Boston in a suburb. And a lot of these people have, mortgages and rent and car payments and a bunch of inventory that they're sitting on that they can't liquidate and they can't raise any money for. So that's the big challenge. right now, stimulus is going. A lot of them are on unemployment because self-employeds could be on unemployment. But with that running out in 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, what are these people going to do? I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the economy is open, they close. Here in Massachusetts, we closed for longer than they did in some of the southern states that are having really high infection rates right now. And we're holding steady. I think yesterday we had a 1.6% positivity rate, but even that, I mean, it used to be less than 1%. Now it's, 1.6. So you don't know what's going to happen. I've been staying home since March 27th when I came back to the United States. I have nowhere to go and I have no money to spend really, so we are fixing up around the house and playing croquet and bocce ball and doing some archery and just trying to occupy ourselves. The weather's really nice right now, but I'm worried about America, and I'm worried about my second home in Tanzania as well and the people there. So in America, we have the actual economy and we have the stock market, and they are so disconnected from one another. And it's the 1% and the Fed injecting all this money, and the, government buying back their own bonds and their own debt. Percentages are so low on interest and debt is so high. And when I say debt, it's corporate debt, it's government debt, and it's individual and family debt as well. Everywhere in America seems to have debt. And that's going to really break a lot. The government pours money into these zombie companies, and zombie companies meaning they know they're not going to survive. They have more debt than they're worth. And eventually they'll close and fold. I mean, I was reading something that said 250 retailers are going to be extinct by the end of the year, just gone. A lot of it taking the debt and filing bankruptcy. And what about zombie people, right? In Tanzania, you can say you have a zero net worth, right? You don't own anything, you have no net worth. So it's not as bad as America, because a lot of people in the United States have a negative net worth, right? Especially if people start selling their houses because they can't afford them or they're losing their jobs. I mean, 1.3 million people lost their jobs today. Think about that, 1.3 million, and that's every week for the past 13 weeks. It's a lot of people unemployed, and it's even been more than that in the beginning. So, I mean, yeah, some people have gone back to work, but some people have lost their jobs again. They came back for 3 or 4 weeks out in California or in Texas only to close down again. So how can they survive after the PPP loans expire? That money's running out. They use the money to hire back staff, and everything comes with changes, right? It's not like you just reopen and everything's normal. I mean, even our school in Tanzania, it cost us a few $1,000s to reopen. We had to install sinks within each classroom. We had to have water sanitations. We have been feeding our schools families, and villages. We bought the kids masks. We had to buy more books. There's always something. And it's quite costly to reopen. So you imagine our little school in Tanzania having to go through that. Imagine, hair salons and restaurants and retailers and gyms, and putting dividers up and lucite blocks. And it's just really been, they comply and they do everything only to be shut down again. So there's a reckoning that's coming to the United States. There's a big reckoning. And I don't know how this is going to end, and I don't think it's going to end pretty. I mean, Mitch McConnell needs to do something for the person that has nothing. I understand that some people's argument is the $600 is too much because people are not, have no incentive to go back to work because they're making more in this unemployment than they were while they were working. And while I understand that's true for some, that $600 doesn't even cover what other people have lost. You know, what's $600 a week? It's a lot for some. I mean, and you have to take in different geographies, right? Down in Alabama or Mississippi or Arkansas or some of the southern states versus, you know, a metropolitan area like, you know, San Francisco or Boston or New York or New Jersey. I mean, where the cost of living is so much higher and the real estate taxes are higher and everything is just more. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. But it's, I don't know, they're on recess now, and I guess they can either go back or Nancy Pelosi is saying, you know, let's go back and we'll cancel recess and let's get something done for the American people. It is so out of control, and it's, you know, I'm not for spending a lot of money that people don't have. I'm not for that at all. I'm very conservative in my financial thoughts. I'm kind of more liberal in my humanitarian thoughts. I have a school in Tanzania and I help the poor. So, you know, you got two very conflicting things. But before that, you know, I worked on Wall Street for 25 years. And I was a casualty in the 2008 financial crisis. And I decided to have a life-changing moment. So that's it. I'm up here. I think I'm going to start doing this every day. I don't know. I see different economists and different people talking about what they see and what's going on in their world. And they're all male. And I thought I would give a little female perspective to the situation here. So anyway, I am up on my roof and there's a beautiful view here, and I'm going to go that way here. I spent the afternoon painting the side of the house. It's nowhere near done. You can see over here. I ran out of paint, so I'm going to have to run to Home Depot and get some more soon. And then it's a good distraction from what's going on in the world. There's a lot going on in the world between the infection and the economy. I don't know. There's a big presidential election going on both in Tanzania and in the United States within, I think, 6 days of each other. So it's two things to follow. We don't know how it's going to end in either place. But it's really trying times. It's unprecedented. And the uncertainties are great. All right, well, I'll come back tomorrow and give another blog about other things that I think about and what I see in my daily life in and around the suburbs of Massachusetts. All right, have a good day, folks.